I slip into the seat next to Yuri's. Yeah. Are you sure? You seem a little apprehensive. I'm sorry. I feel like a lot of people would not like this timid girl because she keeps apologizing for things she shouldn't be apologizing for. But the reactions from her are kind of adorable. It's not that I don't want you to. It's just something I'm not very used to. That is, reading in company with someone. I see. Well, just tell me if I end up distracting you or something. Alright. I open the book and start the prologue. I soon understand what Yuri means about reading in company. It's as if I can feel her presence over my shoulder as I read. It's not a particularly bad thing. Maybe a little distracting, but the feeling is somewhat comfortable. Yuri is in the corner of my eye. I realize that she's not actually looking at her own book. I glance over. It looks like she's reading from my book instead. Sorry! I was just... Yuri, you don't really apologize a lot. You really apologize a lot, don't you? I do. I don't really mean to. Sorry. Oh my god. I mean... Here. This should work, right? I slide my desk until it is up against Yuri's, then hold my book more between the two of them. Ah. I suppose so. Yuri timidly closes her own copy. Once we each lean in a little bit, our shoulders are almost touching. It feels like my arm is in the way, so instead I use my right hand to hold the book. I guess this makes it kind of difficult to turn the page. Here. Yuri takes her... Where am I sitting? Oh, I see. I'm holding the book there. Yuri takes her left arm and holds the left side of the book between her thumb and forefinger. Ah! I do the same with my right hand on the right side of the book. That way, I turn the page and Yuri slides it under her thumb after it flips to her side. But in holding it like this, we're huddled even closer together than before. It's actually kind of distracting me. Why is there no one else in this room right now? Just say. 1 second while I take a sip. Because my mouth is getting dry from all this reading and talking with you guys. Alright, back to the story. It's as if I can feel the warmth of Yuri's face, and she's in the corner of my vision. Are you ready? Eh? To turn the page. Ah, sorry. I think I got a bit distracted for a second. I glance over at Yuri's face again, and our eyes meet. I don't know how I'll be able to keep up with her. Ah. That's okay. You're not as used to reading, right? I don't mind being patient if it takes you a bit longer. It's probably the least I can do. Since you've been so patient with me. Yeah. Thanks. We continue reading. Yuri no longer asks me if I'm ready to turn the page. Instead, I just assume that she finishes the page before me, so I turn it on by my own volition. We continue the first chapter in silence. Even so, turning each page almost felt like an intimate exchange. My thumb gently lets go of the page, letting it flutter over to her side as she catches it under her own thumb. I never thought reading could be this descriptive. Hey, Yuri. This might be a silly thought, but the main character kind of reminds me of you a little bit. You think so? How does she? Well, I guess she's more blunt in a lot of ways, but she also second-guesses all of the things that she says and does. Like she's afraid she'll do something wrong. It's not like I can see into your head or anything, but they're kind of reminiscent of some of your mannerisms. I see. Yuri remains silent for a moment. But Goawei, that's probably a terrible thing to have in common with her. That's so embarrassing that you think that... Well, wait! I didn't mean it in a bad way or anything. Sorry, I really didn't know you were self-conscious about this sort of thing. I mean, couldn't you tell by her timid nature that she's kind of reclusive about it? I guess I more meant that it's kind of cute. Ahaha. What are you saying all of a sudden? Okay, everyone! I think it's about time we share today's poem with each other. We might not have enough time if we wait too long. Ah. Yuri exhales, spared from finishing her thought. Is that alright, Yuri? You look kind of down. I'm sorry if you haven't been looking forward to this. It's not. It's fine. She ruined the moment, didn't she? It was such a good moment with Yuri. Yuri releases her hand from the book, causing it to close on top of my thumb. Alright. I guess I'll do some more reading tonight. Or would you prefer I only read it with you? I guess I don't have too much of a preference either way. In that case, I'll read a little bit more tonight. It'll be more fun to read with you after it picks up a bit, you know? That's good reasoning. In that case, feel free to finish the first 2 chapters in your own time. Alright. I stand up. I make a mental note of where I left off in the book, then slip it back into my bag. I mean, for a literature club, you'd think they would have bookmarks everywhere. You could just take one of them and, slip it in your book. By the way, did you remember to write a poem last night? Yeah? Yeah? Why would I forget homework? Right? My relaxation ends. I can't believe I agreed to do something so embarrassing. God. I couldn't really find much inspiration, since I've never really done this before. Well, now that everyone's ready, why don't you find someone to share with? I can't wait! Sayori and Monika enthusiastically pull out their poems. Sayori's is on a wrinkled sheet of loose leaf torn from a spiral notebook. On the other hand, Monika wrote hers in a composition notebook. I can already see Monika's pristine handwriting from where I sit. Natsuki and Yuri reluctantly comply as well, reaching into their bags. I do the same myself. Who should I show my poem to first? I'm sorry, I gotta go with Monika, because we all know she's waifu, even though Yuri seems like such a good choice. Honestly, if it was me in this literature club, I would go for Yuri. But I feel like I have to go for the poster child of this whole product or game, which is Monika. So I'm gonna pick Monika. I should start with Monika. Yesterday she seemed eager to read my poem, and I want her to know I'm putting in effort. Hi, Goawei. Having a good time so far? Yeah. Good, glad to hear it. By the way, since you're new and everything, if you ever have any suggestions for the club, like new activities or things we can do better, I'm always listening. Don't be afraid to bring things up, okay? Alright, I'll keep that in mind. Of course I'll be afraid to bring things up. I'm much better off just going with the flow until I'm more settled in. Anyways, want to share your poem with me? It's kind of embarrassing, but I guess I have to. Don't worry, Goawei. We're all a little embarrassed today, you know? But it's the sort of barrier that we'll all learn to get past soon. Yeah, that's true. I hand Monika my poem. Great job, Goawei. I was going ooh in my head while reading it. It's really metaphorical. I'm not sure why, but I didn't expect you to go for something so deep. I guess I underestimated you. It's easiest for me to keep everyone's expectations low. That way it always counts when I put in some effort. That's not very fair. Well, I guess it worked anyway. You know that Yuri likes this kind of writing, right? Writing that's full of imaginary imagery and symbolism. Unlike Sayori, who likes using simple and direct words to describe happiness and sadness. Yuri likes it when readers are left to derive their own meaning out of it. It's very challenging to write like that effectively, both allowing people to get something out of it just by feel, or letting them deeply analyze all of the nuances. It can take years of practice, which I'm assuming Yuri has at this point. I never really asked though. I'm sure I'm nowhere near her level yet. Don't worry so much about that. You do your own thing. Just keep exploring and learn by trying new things. I'm sure I'll end up trying different things a lot. It could take a while before I feel comfortable doing this. That's okay. I'd love to see you try new things. That's the best way to find the kind of style that suits you. Everyone else might be a little bit biased towards their own kinds of styles, but I'll always help you find what suits you the most. So don't force yourself to write the way everyone else wants you to write. not like you have to worry about impressing them or anything. Anyways, do you want to read my poem now? Don't worry, I'm not very good. You sound pretty confident for someone who claims to not be very good. Well, that's 'cause I have to sound confident. That doesn't mean I always feel that way, you know? I see. Well, let's read it then. Hole in the wall. Oh, you can actually scroll. It couldn't have been me. See, the direction, the spackle protrudes. A noisy neighbor? An angry boyfriend? I'll never know. I wasn't home. I peer inside for a clue. No, I can't see. I reel, blind, like a film left out in the sun. But it's too late. My retina's already scorched with a permanent copy of the meaningless image. It's just a little hole. It wasn't too bright. It was too deep, stretching forever into everything. A hole of infinite choices. I realize now that I wasn't looking in. I was looking out. And he, on the other side, was looking in. Whoa. Oh, shoot. Sorry. So, what do you think? It's very freeform, if that's what you call it. Sorry, I'm not really the right person to ask for feedback. It's okay. Yeah, that kind of style has gotten pretty popular nowadays. That is, a lot of poems have been putting emphasis on the timing between words and lines. When performed out loud, it can be really powerful. What was the inspiration behind this one? Well, I'm not sure if I know how to put it. I guess you could say that I had some kind of epiphany recently. It's been influencing my poem a bit. An epiphany? Yeah, something like that. I'm kind of nervous to talk about deep stuff like that because it's kind of coming on strongly. Maybe after everyone is better friends with each other. Anyways, here's Monika's writing tip of the day. Sometimes when you're writing a poem or a story, your brain gets too fixated on a specific point. If you try so hard to make it perfect, then you'll never make any progress. Just force yourself to get something down on paper and tidy it up later. Another way to think about this: if you keep your pen in the safe spot for too long, you'll just get a big dark puddle of ink. Oh my god. So just move your hand and go with the flow. Going with the flow sounds like exactly what our MC is about. That's my advice for today. Thanks for listening. Who should I show my poem to next? Obviously, Yuri. ... As Yuri reads the poem, I notice her eyes lighten. Exceptional. Eh? What was that? Did I say that out loud? Yuri first covers her mouth, but then ends up covering her whole face. I can't stand it. She's too cute. Ooh. He's going to hate me. You really didn't do anything wrong, Yuri. Eh? That's... I guess you're right. What am I getting so nervous for? Yuri takes a breath. So, what kind of writing experience do you have? Your use of imagery and metaphors indicate you've written a lot of poetry before. Really? Really? Wow, that's a huge compliment coming from you. This is actually my first time, really. Huh? Yuri stares at me blankly, then looks at my poem again. Well, I know that. I just mean, Yuri trails off, unable to find an excuse. She traces her fingers along the words in the poem, as if breaking it down more thoroughly. Yeah, okay. This is the reason I was able to tell. It's just that there are specific writing habits that are usually typical of new writers. And having been through that myself, I kind of learned to pick up on them. I think the most noticeable thing I recognize in new writers is that they try to make their style very deliberate. In other words, they tend to pick a writing style separate from the topic matter, and they form-fit the two together. The end result is that both the style and the expressiveness are weakened. Once Yuri finds her train of thought, it's as if her demeanor totally changes. Her stammering is completely gone, and she sounds like an expert. Of course, that's not something you can be blamed for. There are so many different skills and techniques that go into writing even a simple poem. Not just finding them and building them, but getting them to work together is probably the most challenging part. It might take you some time, but it all comes with practice and learning by example and trying new things. I also hope that everyone else in the club gives you valuable feedback. Natsuki can be a little bit biased, though. Biased? How? Well, never mind. I shouldn't be talking about people like that. Sorry, it's fine. I'm not sure if Yuri is apologizing to herself, to me, or to Natsuki. Do you mind if I read your poem now? Please do! I'd love to share my thought process behind it. Yuri smiles dreamily as if that's a rare opportunity for her. Which itself is kind of funny. After all, isn't this supposed to be a literature club? Alright, I need another sip of water. Okay. What the heck? This is a lot shorter than I expected. And she has a title too. Ghost under the light. The tendrils of my hair illuminate beneath the amber glow. Bathing. It must be this one. The last remaining streetlight to have withstood the test of time. The last yet to be replaced by the sickening blue-green hue of the future. I bathe. Calm? I bathe. Calm, breathing air of the present, but living in the past. The light flickers. I flicker back. There was no sign, but I just clicked outside. ... I'm sorry I have such terrible handwriting. What? Is this girl being serious? I wasn't thinking that at all. But it took you a long time to read. Well, I just don't read script very often.